So if you're looking for a case for your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, there's a good chance that you've seen products from Tech21 as, well, they're shown in the Apple stores. But I'm going to tell you what I think is the best case out of the Evo Tactical Extreme, the Evo Check, Evo Elite, Evo Gem, Evo Tactical, Evo Check Active Edition, and the Evo Check Urban Edition. Oh, and the Tactical Clear. I've done a detailed review for these two cases as well as the Evo Check. So I've pretty much got every single Tech21 case you can get for your iPhone 7, and I'm going to tell you which one I think is best. In general, you can't go wrong with any of these Tech21 cases. They're a little more expensive, and generally there are just very small differences between each version of the case that I just showed you. I'll spend most of my time highlighting these differences for this video. The biggest selling point for these cases is the protection that they theoretically offer your iPhone. Drop protection for these Tech21 cases ranges from 5 feet for the Impact Clear to 13 feet for the Evo Tactical Extreme Edition. Tech21 uses a design cue that really bothers me, but the handling of each case is actually quite nice. Well, except for the Tech21 Evo Elite, I still really don't like this case at all. From a scoring perspective, I've given the Tech21 Evo Mesh basically check, and as well as the Gem a score of 4 A's out of 5. Impact Clear gets a score of 4 A's out of 5. The Evo Elite gets 3.4 A's out of 5. The Evo Tactical gets a score of 3.9, and the Evo Tactical Extreme gets a score of 4.4 A's out of 5. If you want to see what are the best iPhone 7 cases out of the hundreds that I've reviewed, check out that list on my website.
Real usage, real reviews. MobileReviewsA.ca.
At MobileReviewsA.ca, we base everything we do on actual usage, and when it comes to Tech21 cases that generally haven't changed in the last, we'll say, 18 months to 2 years, well, the only thing we do is look for stuff that we haven't tested before, and with these Tech21 cases, it's to see how much hair comes off of Monty when we rub these really grippy cases on him. And the answer is not a whole lot, despite the fact that if I was to put it on this granite countertop, like it's not, or Caesar stone, it's not granite, Caesar stone, it's not going anywhere. So really tacky in your hand on surfaces, but not tacky on dogs. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to start with the lowest rated case, which will be this one, and I'm going to end off on the highest rated case, which is this one. And my personal favorite out of this entire grouping is actually the Evo Tactical, which kind of sits in the middle like so. The Evo Tactical is the highest rated, but it might not necessarily be the best case for you. And again, I'll go through all of that information. The case I generally stay away from is the Tech21 Evo Elite. I always chuckle when I think about the Evo Elite, as the Elite portion of the name really doesn't live up to, well, the definition of Elite, as it handles quite poorly, and the bottom of the case is quite wimpy. Now, the wimpy bottom is the design feature that bothers me about Tech21 cases. I personally would prefer a case that covers as much of the iPhone as possible, if not the entire bottom. The bottom of the iPhone on these Tech21 cases is more exposed, which shouldn't be a cause for concern, since a drop on the bottom edge on a flat surface won't be an issue, but you might get unlucky on uneven terrain. I will add that on certain cases, the material on the backside is thinner than the rest around that area. The Evo Elite isn't as big as other Tech21 cases, but will show wear and tear quicker. Just a couple drops on the sidewalk will remove some of the painting or coating of the edge. The front lip of the case is quite rubbery, which improves the handling, but the back is very slick. The case will work better on an iPhone 7 than an iPhone 7 Plus, as the larger iPhone will be harder to handle in the Evo Elite. The corners of this case are drop rated to 6 feet, which makes it slightly tougher than the Impact Clear, but a far cry from the Evo Checks as well as the Tactical. Next up is the Evo Tactical, which is my personal favorite out of this group. In my opinion, it has the right amount of texture and it has a matte finish, which I prefer. The matte finish isn't as tacky as, the finish on your Evo Checks meshes or Evo Gems. So, again, on this Caesar stone, like this Evo Check isn't going anywhere. This Tactical still has a bit of texture, so it won't slide around as easily, but it still won't slip out of your hands like this Ghost Tech cloak that I just reviewed. The Evo Tactical and Evo Checks are a little thicker and wider than the Evo Elite, which is already quite wide. Again, I'd be careful about getting any of these Evo Tech21 cases for the Impact Clear for the iPhone 7 Plus, as it will add a noticeable amount of width to that device. The Evo Tactical fits the iPhone well, and the wimpy bottom isn't as noticeable, but it is still there. The corners of the case are drop rated to 3 meters or 9.9 feet, which is much higher than the average iPhone case, but I did check with Tech21, and the 9 feet drop protection does not pertain to the dropping it face first. So they suggested if I was planning on dropping it 9 feet face first that I use a screen protector. So, you know, the drop protection, at least they came out clean and told me, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And I'll also note that there is an asterisk beside the drop protection marketing fluff on the boxes, as it says, no case is indestructible. Tech 21 does not warrant that this case will protect your device in all circumstances. So, you know, at least they're honest about it. Now, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I read that? For me, when I read that the first time, the first thing that popped in my mind, my wife and I have been rewatching Friends. It's when I think Ross got Rachel pregnant and they find out the condoms are not 100% effective. So those two things in my mind kind of are, well, related in a sense. All right, back to the review. Accessing the iPhone in the Evo Tactical is decent, though the buttons are a smidge tougher to use. Next up is the Evo Check, or Evo Mesh, depending on where you get it, as well as the Evo Gem. I believe the Evo Mesh is found online on the Apple Store as well as in-store, and the Evo Check is for everywhere else. You could get the Evo Gem anywhere you want as well. The biggest difference from my perspective is the design on the back between all these cases. You got triangles, circles, or a random hex design on the Evo Gem. Tech 21 sent me a couple of different variations of the check, which I thought were pretty cool, as it does allow you to, it gives you a few more options to add a bit more attitude to your iPhone if you want. Between the Evo Check Active and the Urban Editions, I did like the Urban Edition, as the horizontal lines look better than the random black dots of the Urban Edition. Now, I don't have that case anymore because I don't know where I put it. I told myself I like this case, and most of the time when I feel like I need to make note of something, I'll put it somewhere where I'll never look ever again because I feel like it's important, so I'm going to put it there. I have no idea where the Active Edition is. Yeah, maybe it's still in the box, because that'd be funny. It is not, but it has all these straight lines on it. Other than that, whatever I said for the Evo Tactical stands for the Evo Check or Evo Mesh, as well as the Evo Gem. Next up is the Tech 21 Impact Clear. The Impact Clear is one of the highest rated cases for the iPhone 7. Unlike the iPhone 6 version, it doesn't yellow over time, which is awesome. The standout feature of the Impact Clear is the size of the case. It doesn't add much bulk to the iPhone, which is great, which is, you know, complete opposite of all the Evo Checks and Evo Meshes. If you need all the details for the Impact Clear, do check out that full review video for that case. The highest rated case in this list is the Tech 21 Evo Tactical Extreme Edition. In my scoring system, being the highest rated doesn't necessarily mean the best, because the Evo Tactical Extreme has a lot of extra features, but is going to be an awful case for people who are looking for just a slim protective case. The Evo Tactical reminds me a lot of the Tech 21 Patriot, with one difference. It doesn't have the poor performing screen protector, which was my biggest gripe about the Patriot. The bulk of the Evo Tactical is going to be very noticeable, as it is the thickest and widest case on this list. The only reprieve you have with the added bulk is that Tech 21 does include a belt holster with the case. The Evo Tactical Extreme has the same matte finish as the regular Tactical, which I personally prefer. The iPhone sits in a small frame that's fitted into the larger back sleeve. From my perspective, this setup is going to offer your iPhone screen a bit more protection from face first drops, as the iPhone won't pop out of the case. The Tactical Extreme is drop rated to 13 feet, which is an offensive height to drop an iPhone from on a day-to-day basis. Based on the design of this product, as you can see, I feel very comfortable dropping my iPhone from a very high height. If you want to see the Tech 21 Patriot get dropped from over 13 feet, do check out that review video. The Evo Tactical is designed to offer more dust protection for your iPhone than the average case, as it has a dust cover for the lightning port, dust covers for the speaker grills, and the mute switch is covered by the slide mechanism, which makes it way easier to access. The only parts that are left exposed is the screen and the camera, which is kind of funny to me. Like, I understand protecting as much of the iPhone as possible, but without a screen protector, like, it's the screen that's gonna most likely break on your iPhone first, as well as the glass bits on your camera. So those two things on the Evo Tactical Extreme are exposed. So I would definitely get a screen protector with this entire setup. But again, it's gonna offer more protection than your standard case. Well, because the bottom is basically covered up completely. Surprisingly, the Evo Tactical is actually one of the better cases out of this lot when it comes to accessing your iPhone. The buttons are way easier to press through this giant case than it is through the slimmer cases. The lightning port cover is quite flexible and pops out easily, and the belt holster doesn't actually have a physical latch to operate, which means you can remove your iPhone from your holster with one hand. The downside of this design feature is that if you shake the holster hard enough, the iPhone might fall out, but I'm not quite sure how this would happen when you have the entire setup clipped to your belt. The holster does double as a stand, usable in both landscape and portrait modes. I do have to give props to Tech21 for sending me all these cases to review and for answering my questions. Again, these cases do sit very high on my top 10 list. I think the Impact Clear is number 2 or number 3, and the Tech21 Evo Mesh is probably in the top 5 of the regular iPhone 7 cases. So if you're planning on getting one of these products, consider going through my links, as well, the cases were sent to me, but Tech21 did not compensate me for any of the time that I spent or any of the iPhones that I used during this review. I think that's all I have. See ya!